Hello and welcome back to another Total War video we have for today. With the holidays over and the new year has begun, I finally have time to go over a Creative Assembly's thank you post that has some new info about Total War itself, including what changes they want to make and what to expect to see this year. First up, we have Creative Assembly talk about how excited they were to finally show off Warhammer 40k during the Game Awards. The studio seems really proud to work on the project and that the lore itself is pretty important to them, as well as the minis playing a big role in the design of the game, so it's very good news for all the tabletop players who want to get into the game. I'm surprised they were able to keep it a secret for so long without any major leaks. And as well, there were many hints for the next game, so we kind of knew it was going to be 40k well beforehand. But what was surprising is that it will come out well before Medieval 3, as well as with the Warhammer Fantasy doing so well, it just makes sense that the game would come out sooner rather than later. Creative Assembly has worked with Games Workshop for a total of 10 years now, so it's only a matter of time until Total War went into space eventually. And as many of you can figure, this game will take the forefront for quite a long time, since 40k itself has much content and is still a growing universe unlike Warhammer Fantasy, so expect this game to be around for quite a while. Creative Assembly also answered a concern some players had, and that'd be if the games being on consoles would affect the size or the formula of how it's played. Creative Assembly did say it wouldn't change the Total War experience overall, there would still be big battles on a wide campaign map, but for PC players nothing will change, so what I expect is similar to Solarsis, the console version will be smaller, and the PC version will just have bigger scale maps. Now on to the next part of the post, it's going to be covering Total War Medieval 3. It's a game that fans have been asking for quite a long time, ever since the last game came out over 10 years ago now. They even compared the game to Half-Life 3 in the Elder Scrolls series, so it seems like even CA knows it's something many players thought might not ever happen, since it has been so long since the last installment. And one big thing fans didn't like about the new game is that it's in pre-production, so that does mean players are going to have to wait a lot longer than expected. But the good news about it is that CA brings up that it's going to be more than just an idea on paper. They have formations, sieges, and a population system being tested already, and with the new Warcore engine, it's going to be much easier to implement new ideas over time. So we might not know a whole lot about the game so far because it's in the early stages, but it does sound very ambitious, trying to really fulfill the Warhammer experience people have been wanting from a historical game for a long time. And no worries for those who'd like to know more about the game, I'm going to compile all the info we have so far, especially from the roundtable video they did shortly after this post. So don't expect too much information about the game this year, most likely we'll get tons more once 40k actually comes out, but stay hopeful for it because maybe we'll get it sooner rather than later. Now for the most interesting part, that's going to be Total War Warhammer 3. Creative Assembly goes over that it hasn't been the greatest year to be a player, with all the delays to the DLC and broken promises, but with the launch of Tides of Torment, the player numbers were their highest they have been since the launch of Immortal Empires. It also helps that Warhammer 1 and 2 players can play Immortal Empires for free, but nonetheless it was good to see the player count so high for once. And like the ghosts of Christmas Past, they bring up Shadows of Change and how they want to keep updating the game the same way since that debacle happened, like adding free units and reworks without needing a DLC to come out at the same time like for past DLCs and updates. Creative Assembly also wants to mention that splitting up the DLC has made it much better and easier for players who don't want to spend money in factions they'll never play and get their hands on a full roster to their favorite faction. Then another big thing CA brings up is talking about how they failed to meet expectations and are committed to improving that in the future, so hopefully that means no more delays and faster updates, especially with the siege rework. I've been waiting for that for quite a long time, even the beta would do at this point. Hence why the new games will be in a new engine, so it'll be much easier to add stuff into the games much faster, since Warhammer 3 does have 10 years of development crammed into it, making things just a bit clunky. But the good thing is, to try to remedy that, they've grown the team and brought back some veteran developers to help work on the Lords of the End Times, since this is going to be such a big DLC, and as we know, it kind of got transferred to Team Sophia after everyone left to work on 40k. Creative Assembly will also be treating the AI bugs that have been plaguing the game for a long time much more serious, and will take them as one of the highest priorities up there with crashings. So this may not be a silver bullet to the problem, but it will at least be something that is a focus to be fixed rather than hoping mods will fix the AI. Then the last part is the changes to the Warhammer DLC. So Neferata was talked about to be the first character pack, but it seems that has changed, and now she'll be free alongside the new DLC coming out this summer, since the team felt it didn't make much sense to separate Neferata for a DLC, which is good for the players since she will arrive with Nagash as an update to the vampire counts. But the only thing I'm unsure of is what will happen to the units she was going to have, so hopefully that means whatever they might have been is going to be added with Nagash, or will just be free entirely, but again, we'll have to wait and see when it comes out. But we did get one hint what the next DLC could be, and it's going to be called a character pack, which is going to be similar to the DLC we have now, but a little less content than usual, and it's going to be less than $9. So imagine a lord, probably not a legendary hero, but at least a handful of units alongside them. So the faction that will be replacing Neferata is Grand Cathay with a thematic twist. It'll be roaring and clawing its way into the DLC. So if you haven't figured it out just yet, the next lord's going to be the Monkey King, And there will also be some Tigerman units because they were leaked forever ago and it kind of makes sense thematically. So I don't know exactly when this DLC will come out, but I assume late spring since it's been confirmed already that it'll be coming out before the Lords of the End Times. And it's only about one character pack, so I wouldn't imagine there'll be too many hurdles. But besides it being a rough year, I'm glad it seems like Warhammer 3 is going in the right direction. And I do really enjoy this game, and it's the only reason I know what Warhammer even is. So I hope we can get another 10 years out of the franchise, since CA said themselves will keep making DLC until people stop buying them. So again, I'll be waiting for Dogs of War. Then something I thought was pretty interesting, CA wanted to get done which they call a side quest. First, everyone's favorite change, no more blood packs. The game's called Total War, no longer required to pay for blood, and any of the new games, so Medieval and 40k, won't have the blood pack. So that's a big thing. I know people have been complaining that forever. It is nice, you know, if you buy it once, it transfers to the next sequel, but even that, I still think it's pointless to even pay for blood. Then one of the quests I saw many people were confused about, and that'd be the Total War launcher. So before you would open the game and a launcher would pop up where you can just play the game right away or look at your mod list to pick what you like to use. Creative Assembly felt like that was a very inefficient way to launch the game, since Steam is already the launcher, so the launcher, if I haven't said it enough already, is going to be removed, and instead you can play the game right away or check out the beta mod manager, which we'll be using to make mods a lot easier. And for future titles like Warhammer 40k or Medieval 3, they'll no longer get pre-order bonus factions. Really glad this is gone, since many factions of Warhammer 3 had a problem with that because they were undercooked and not updated properly afterwards. So I'd rather wait for a faction to be implemented properly and then play them early than have like half their roster missing and then wait like 6 years for an update. And the last side quest CA wanted to get done last year was splitting up the Shadows of Change DLC to make it like any other, so players now can get factions from that DLC they actually play without having to pay for the other two. Hopefully this will be the last we hear about the debacle, since it's kind of been the stain on Warhammer 3, but it's still now a good DLC compared to when it released. And another thing I think players will really get excited to hear is that the goal for 2026 is that they'll be going back to older games, like fixing bugs, making the player experience smoother, or see more robust features get updated like game mechanics. So anyone who likes the older games a lot, you'll have something to look forward toward until Medieval 3 comes out. This is probably the best news out of the whole post for many players, since there's a lot of people who just play the older games, since there isn't really like a modern equivalent like the Napoleon games or Empire or even Shogun. And near the end of the post, one of the Creative Assembly devs said they'll be taking emails where you can directly reach out for feedback. They can't promise that each one will be read, but they will try their best to read as many as they can, so feel free to send them an email with any suggestions or anything in the games you'd like to see change. And the last thing shown in the post was all the stats for players in the year 2025. So the first three are the top campaigns. We have Zhao Ming, Elsbeth von Draken, and number one, unsurprisingly, is Karl Franz. Then we have the most wins and defeat. The Empire had the most wins, and the most defeated was the Skaven, which I thought was really funny since, you know, it kind of fits in theme. The Skaven are always getting defeated, and the Empire always, you know, trying to win, being righteous, you know, the good guys. Then the most kills for units was the Archers, which really made me think of Warhammer 2 Days, or maybe everyone just decided to play High Elves this year. Then the most losses are the Saurus Warriors, which kind of shocked me because I thought they were pretty good infantry, especially because they're tier 2, not like, you know, tier 1 like Skaven Slaves or something. But again, maybe people are just overusing them, you know, in all their secondary armies. And the most played factions across the globe are mainly Reichland again. I kind of knew the Empire was popular, but Reichland was the most played in Africa, North America, Latin America, Southeast Asia, South Asia, Oceania, Middle East, Eastern Europe, and Western Europe. Kind of insane, because that's like majority of them. Maybe people just really enjoy the Empire way more than I ever thought they did. Then the rest of the areas are a little more diverse, but not very much. So we have Kislev for South America and Russian territories. Very different places on Earth, which is kind of shocking. They both really like Kislev. Asia mostly played the Northern Province. That was not a shock. And the rest of the world put together played the Lore Masters of Hoeth. Kind of the most out of left field faction I kind of saw. But it was very interesting since at least the High Elves made it somewhere on this list. And that's going to wrap up the video. I know this is coming out very late, but this year 2026 I want to change that and be more consistent. So I really appreciate all the support you guys have given out to the channel, and it's really motivated me to spend more time making YouTube videos. 2025 was my first year ever making YouTube content, so it was pretty fun even though I'm not the most consistent YouTuber. I want to thank you guys for letting me have this chance to even make YouTube videos. And with the new year, I want to be making much more content and actually make those gameplay videos that I keep promising that I'll make. They do just take much longer than other videos, so maybe branching out to other games in the meantime to kind of fill that gap to get more content out. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know down below. And again, I appreciate all you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.